God has not promised me sunshine. That's not the way it's gonna be. Hi, this is Prophetess Kennedy, and we're going to talk about today about responsibility. Responsibility comes with a lot of packages, and right now it's a lot of blame game. We're blaming everybody for our troubles and our mistakes, and we're putting the blame on everybody but ourselves because we don't want to take responsibility. Well, first of all, society get everybody thinking to look up with the stars, and the stars will tell you which way to go, and people is actually reading about the Leos and the Virgos and all the astrology, and if it say don't go outside today, they won't go outside because they're so stuck on society, and they got you on horoscopes, and they got you in reality. They got you everywhere but what you're supposed to be, and that's focusing yourself on God. I was looking at a character, and one of the characters was a lion, and this lion had a tail, and he was scared of his own shadow, and he was so fidgety and so timid, but he had enough courage, or she had enough courage to go and mess with people's husbands. So she wasn't that timid, because if she was that timid and then she was that scary, she wouldn't keep opening the door for people's husbands, and he wouldn't keep opening the door for people's wives, and they wouldn't be going up and down the street together boldly like they're not married. The society has told you can go with whoever you want to, whether they're married or not. But you got to realize one thing. When a person take their vows, they become one. They become one flesh. So if you're out there chasing and going around and going to shopping and going around with people's husbands, you're not only going with that husband, you're going with the wife, because they are one. And then we're going around right now, and there's a lot of bullying going around. It's going to the point that it's bullying. The kindergartens are getting bullied. But those children are not getting this behavior from thinking about it themselves. They're getting the behavior either from the siblings bullying them, or either something is going on wrong at home. And then we're turning around, and the kids, only time they eat is when they eat lunch at school. The weekend they're hit because you're too busy chasing society, and you're too busy chasing trying to be housewives and divas and everything that's not what you're supposed to be. And everybody want to blame the responsibility on people well, my mother wasn't around, or my father wasn't around, so I had to do this and I had to do this. You want to blame everybody, but you won't look in the mirror and say, I'm the one to blame. It started off with a law, and the law started off with Adam and Eve. Adam knew certain things he couldn't mess with, certain fruits, and Eve knew also. But then when it came down to shame and they was exposed, the first thing Eve wanted to blame was the serpent. Okay, so the law began with people pointing fingers at each other instead of taking blame for their selves, instead of being responsible. Now it's getting sad to the point that your kids has got to go home all weekend, and they're waiting to go to school so they can eat lunch. And half of you guys get food stamps. Now what's the problem? You're taking your food stamp down to these stores, and you're selling your food stamps, and you're letting your children go without food, and you're selling your stamps just to get weaves, and you're selling your stamps just to get extra money, just to buy an outfit to go out so you can turn it up. Now what's wrong with the respect? If you want, in order to give respect, you got to give respect, but you got to learn how to be responsible for yourself. Now, we had one person that turned around and stuffed their bodies all the time with straw. Now that person didn't supposed to have any brain, but they had enough sense to stuff themselves with straw because they knew they had to ask God to keep them covered. So they had a lot of brain. They had a lot of sense. They knew that God was God all by himself. They knew that he was the lily of the valley. They knew that God would cover him. So that one that didn't have brain, didn't have any sense, knew to stick straw in himself to cover him. And then we had old Dorothy with the red hot shoes. And she was clicking her heels trying to go home. She didn't know where she wanted to go. She was all twisted and she was all turned around. She was in a whirlspin because she wanted to do everything society told her to do, but she did not want to take the responsibility of herself. Do you understand what I mean about being responsible for yourself, being responsible for your children, being responsible, period? Responsible comes with a price. Responsibility, that's what it's called. It's called responsibility. And then a lot of ladies say, well, if she keep her husband at home, don't get mad at me because her husband is chasing me, and it's always the woman's fault. Yes, it's your fault because you should be responsible enough to know not to open a door, but you're opening the door because you need a piece of change, and you don't care who it hurts or whoever it may hurt. And I'm going to tell you ladies about your bold selves, and I'm going to tell you men about your bold selves. Everybody is just throwing their bodies around and just doing what they want to do, and then you seem to follow Dorothy because Dorothy is the one with the red slippers clicking it, and you thinking Dorothy knows which way to take you home. You're letting Dorothy be the responsibility. You're letting Dorothy take up everything. You're putting all of the responsibility on Dorothy to lead you in the right direction. And I'm telling you guys, you better stop praising these ministers. Stop praising these ministers. I will not lose my assignment, will not lose what God gave me just to tell you that you're going to get a Bentley or a house. So you can follow the people that got the house on a hill. But it's a lot of people that has, that's been chosen or that's trying to do the right thing, and they don't have the house on the hill and they don't have the Bentley, but you don't want to run to choose them. You want to go to the ones that has the house and the Bentley because you figure they're favorite, or you figure that they got it all. But then we have a lot of copycat ministers now. Well, this minister had this Bentley, so I'm going to have this minister this Bentley. And this minister got this house, so I'm going to have this house. But Pookie can be anointed and lives in the projects. So you have to watch who you're following out here, and watch and pray and read your Bible and know God for yourself and have a relationship. And then you will be able to get some discernment of the spirits that you're following. Learn not to follow Dorothy, because Dorothy don't know herself. Dorothy don't know anything but a good time and a click of heels. So you need to learn how to click your own heels and know how to be responsible and take things and do things for yourself and do things for your children. And then if you're that bold and you scared of your own shadow and you don't have enough courage to go out there, you want somebody else, you're looking for Dorothy to go out there and say, why we don't have enough health insurance. Won't you get your big bold self out there and ask why we can't have health insurance? You need to go out there and find out why our people and children so hungry. Did you check any stores? Did you check the casino? Did you check the clubs to find out why the children are starving? No, nobody should be out here starving. Nobody should be out here without a place to stay, but you seem to have, it's 2 of y'all and y'all got a 52-bedroom home. What's the problem with responsibility? We have so many people that we're watching on TV every day, and where their paychecks, and we know their birthdays, and we know their husbands, we know their wives, and we know where they live, and we know what kind of clothes and shoes. We know everything about them, but we don't know ourselves. We want to be them. We put ourselves in the world of Dorothy. We don't know which way to click our heels because we want to be somebody fictional, some non-fiction character on television. We're so hyped up, and society loves to see you so hooked on television that you can't help a child with their homework, and you don't take time to get a meal. You can make a miracle meal. You can make a pot of soup to feed your children. It's no excuse, because we want to blame everybody but taking the responsibility for ourselves. When you realize that God is able and God will be there for you, and God is everything in our life and He loves us, then you realize that you don't have to follow Dorothy. You don't have to outdo Dorothy. It's no competition out here. And then we're running to different churches because that church is nice, and that church has this, and that church has that. And we're running because we're thinking they're more favored. But like I said, I am not, and I will not have to explain to you, but I will not lose my assignment that God gave me that's so precious. And it's not worth it. Oh no, it's not worth it. I'm not going to sit up there and give you all kind of things and use all kind of tricks to make you come and find out about God for yourself. No, I'm not the one. I'm just not the one. We have 15,000 ministers a month leaving because they feel that they're been let down. They feel rejected. They're discouraged. But I come to tell you that God is able and God will take care of you. All you have to do is learn responsibility. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I have to be with the ones that's experienced, and I have to be with the one that's been doing it a long time. But did you ever figure the one that's out there doing right and doing the work of God, that they might, and I know it for a fact, God might have kept them a secret until they were able to be revealed? Did you think about that? I thought about the times when I used to go to parties and I used to have a weekend thing at my house, and we would just really get down. But you know what? Every time I tried to do things out there that wasn't right with God, God will pull me back. Because God chastens the ones, and He chastises the one He loves. I say it again, He chastens and chastises the ones He loves. And so regardless of whatever you do out there, you're going to be pulled back. So you might as well give it up and let it go. And the ones that want to follow the people that they think that is so experienced, that's fine with me. And that should be fine with a lot of ministers, because one thing about it, I will not, and I shall not, and I will never use any tricks to pull you to get to follow me. I'm following God. I'm on the road. I'm clicking my heels. I'm following the one that I know that was with me from the beginning, and He will be with me from to the end, because He is the one that made me. He knew who I was before He put me in my mother's womb. He knew me before my mother knew me. That's who I am following. Do you know your responsibility? Do you have a responsibility? Or are you blaming everybody and you're turning around and following Dorothy instead of having the courage to take responsibility and follow God? I am Prophetess Kennedy, and always remember to smile when you feel like crying. No matter what people say, we are true from hurt and harm. God will take you in his loving arms. Always rejoice. God